Howdy y'all, this is a little different than my usual little stupid entry point animations, but don't worry, this is still about entry point. Also forgive me for the low mic quality. I want to start something called Theory Time. In case the name didn't make it obvious, it's going to be about entry point theories I've brainstormed which I will try to convince you are true. Yes, you special little viewer. Then you can share your thoughts, try to contradict me, or just not do either, I don't really care. Also let me know if my voice sounds too dead inside, too bare. I'll change it up. Maybe sound like, I don't know, happier. I was looking for the right word. It's been years since I've used the word happy. Just kidding. I have thousands of theories I want to share about entry point, and I'll begin with Rivera. Personally, I don't think enough attention is paid to Rivera in the Epic Entry Point clan, one of the most popular entry point Discord servers, probably because one of the VAs of Entry Point, Grandfire 1, or Dart the Infiltrator is an admin there. What was I saying? Oh yeah, my point is, in the Epic Entry Point clan, Rivera is made fun of a lot. But honestly, after looking into her character more, I realized Rivera actually has a story arc, and quite a sad one. You'll see what I mean soon. Obviously, there will be spoilers, and I highly recommend you play through Entry Point first if you haven't already. Seriously, it's an awesome game. To start us off, let's review Rivera's role in the story. In the scientist mission, you, playing as the freelancer, but we'll just call him Finch because it sounds better than the freelancer, and we were given that name at the end of the game, so I'm using it. Your job is to escort Rivera from Halcyon, which she's defecting from, to Phoenix, your side. Hooray! Now this could either be ideal, in which you accomplish your goal, or far from ideal, and she dies. Yeah, that was quick. And that's basically it. For you losers who decided not to play Entry Point, you're probably wondering how I dished a theory from such a minor character. But keep in mind, the missions are only half of Entry Point, tops. Entry Point has so much lore and hidden secrets that most players don't even scratch the surface when they play it. They just walk on it. And that's not what was intended, you insolence of peasantry! Most of y'all probably don't even know about the lock. The lock is a nifty little black bar beneath the XP bar in the lobby that bears all kinds of secrets. If you type in certain words or lock codes that can be discovered in missions, you'll receive a special file full of plenty of information. Of course, with that in mind, the lock is a gold mine. Where am I going with this? Well, there happens to be a lock code for Rivera. If you type eminent into the lock, a file about Rivera appears. In that file, it specifically notes that Rivera is, well, an eminent computer scientist, which is an odd detail. Why note her specifically to be eminent? Shouldn't all members of Halcyon be eminent? I believe that specifically means that Rivera was better than most techies at Halcyon, like the Rose or Ren of computer scientists. By that analogy, I mean she excelled at all of her tasks and was respected. You know, one of the higher-ups. Everyone knew her name. To y'all that are still skeptical, in the Entry Point catalog, if you go to Rivera's clothes, it says, quote, "Brilliant? Yes. Ambitious? Absolutely. You command the type of respect you can only earn at the top of your field. There won't be any of your colleagues replacing you anytime soon, and you're sure of that." End quote. Her clothes are even called the intellectual's gear, so there's that hammer for your nail. But then how come Rivera has so little in her file compared to Rose and Ren's file? There's two reasons for that. Either A, she's a background character so Sish didn't bother typing an entire backstory, or B, well, I'll come back to reason 2 soon. You'll see why. So we've established that Rivera was greatly respected and excelled as a computer scientist. The next question is why Rivera ran away to Phoenix. At the very start of The Scientist, before the mission even begins, Jackdaw tells you Rivera ran to Phoenix for protection. But protection from what? If anything, Rivera was much safer in Halcyon. The Eminent file and the mission Black Dust confirms that Halcyon knows about the defection, so she just put herself in danger of an assassination attempt. Rivera chose being in a shadowy organization where she will be hunted, over a different shadowy organization where she wasn't being hunted. Why? Well, she said she defected for protection, right? Protection from what? I believe that there was a threat from inside of Halcyon. Something from the inside was scaring her, hurting her, hunting her. But what? What could possibly have been bothering Rivera so much that she'd defect? I can answer that too. It's who. And that who is the director himself. Allow me to make my case. Let's go back to the Eminent file. It's made clear the director controls what goes in all the files. In one file, there's a section called Director's Notes, where he shares his opinion about events in the file. Specifically, this is the Memento file I'm talking about. And what's more, in the Defector file about the director himself, there is missing information that he clearly chose not to add. The missing information is only revealed in the Denouement file, which is the only file not written by the director or Halcyon. With that in mind, he must also have chosen what goes into the Eminent file. but why write so little in there if she was as important as I claim? My reasoning is that there were some bits about Rivera that the director didn't want getting into that file. The director has proven to be a very scummy, backstabbing little rat. He's so cunning and clever and only cares about himself. Nothing is too low for this SOB, period. He even threw his best operative, Jackdaw, under the bus because he wanted complete power. He sent Jackdaw on a secret mission to assassinate the other last two directors, and then shared that information to the other operatives to show that he was supposedly a traitor. Of course, he left out the fact that he ordered him to assassinate them. With that in mind, how far-fetched would it be if I told you he scared and beat Rivera into submission? In The Scientist, dialogue between Finch and Rivera is exchanged and reveals how Rivera got into Halcyon in the first place. So why did Halcyon hire you, Rivera? They wanted a consultant for one of their projects. They took me to one of their bunkers. So perhaps after joining Halcyon and getting a taste of what it was like, she must have realized that maybe, just maybe, illegally helping a shadowy organization caught in the middle of a war with another shadowy organization whilst being hunted by the government just isn't the life for her, go figure. She wanted to leave. But if she was so eminent and good at what she did, would the director really have let her leave so easily? Seeing how much of a dirtbag he is, I think not. He would scare her into staying and listening to what he said, and even physically harming her to really drive the point home. But Skiggs, you may cry, he likely only scared her. You don't have evidence of beatings too. You underestimate my power, viewer! Oh god, that was terrible. Again, nothing's too low for the director. Considering there's also a lack of background of what Rivera's life was like before Halcyon, she likely refused to tell him because she didn't want Halcyon knowing too much about her, because she planned on leaving soon. That's also something that could frustrate the director and another reason to scare and intimidate her to try to get her to tell him. So if verbal intimidation and threats aren't enough, he would likely resort to physically attacking her. But the lack of information in the Eminent files says she never gave in, so he would keep beating her. Also, if the directors did scare her into submission and all she wanted to do was leave, is that something you'd really want to add into her file? He would want to disguise the abuse by saying, oh yeah, she wants to be here. Including the fact there's no intel of her whereabouts before Halcyon, that doesn't leave a lot to add to her profile. Finally, being unable to leave by her own will, she was trapped in a place where she didn't want to be. Scared every day and moment at Halcyon, she appeared to have no hope. Until there was hope. In the Pyre file, it records a call between Rose and Jackdaw that Halcyon wiretapped. Her dying words before Falcon and his accomplice finished her off and threw her body into the lake. Rest in peace, Rose. Anyways, the wiretap would obviously reveal Jackdaw's phone number, or at least a way to access him. And who could know how to wiretap? Someone very trusted and skilled in engineering? Someone like, Rivera? She turned the wiretap into the director, but secretly kept the phone number for herself. She then would use that number and contacted Jackdaw, telling him she wants to defect to Phoenix. Of course, any idea of treason is suspicious, so he'd question her. When he asks why, she simply responds with, for protection. Rivera then asks to be moved to a different safe house for traitor reasons, which by the way, she doesn't get any respect in there either. She is literally locked in the basement, with 2 doors, both of them locked, a slot definitely used just to slide food and water in, and a guard to constantly watch her even while she sleeps. So she also gets treated like a prisoner in there, likely by the director's orders to give her a hard time. I can just picture her sanity slowly chipping away in there while she just waits, begging inside her head for the extraction to come. So then the Scientist commences, where Finch goes in and retrieves her, taking her to Phoenix where she'll finally be safe. She may still not want to be in this war, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that she is free. Free from Halcyon and the director, finally safe. I'd imagine such a deteriorating and abusive experience would greatly tear down your mental health. Personally, I'd like to imagine that Rivera found somebody in Phoenix who helps her heal from the trauma of Halcyon. Have you noticed being a highly respected figure in Halcyon is like a death sentence? Seriously, you either end up being dead or a traitor. Or both. Summary time, Rivera joined Halcyon but decided she was no fan of the illegal lifestyle. The director, not wanting her to leave, also likely mad that she wouldn't tell him everything about her origins, beat and scared her into submission so she wouldn't leave. Just when she seemed trapped forever, an opportunity appeared that she certainly wasn't letting pass. Rose's call in death. She contacted Jackdaw and she was soon escorted to Phoenix, but in this context, rescued seems like a better word. Certainly a tale to think about. Not to mention the fact that, if Rose hadn't died and made that call to Jackdaw, Rivera might have never been able to leave Halcyon. She just would have been trapped forever, in a cycle of endless abuse, in the hands of the director. I love dramatic monologuing. I'm glad that in Rivera's case, things ended up somewhat okay. I've discussed this theory with someone before, and they speculated that Falcon also abused her, but personally, I disagree. As far as I can tell, there's zero evidence of Falcon also beating her. I also surprised myself when I realized if it weren't for Rose's death, Rivera might have never even left Halcyon. Anyways, did you like the theory? Cause I really look forward to making more theory time videos like this. I love hearing criticism, feedback, and thoughts, so don't be afraid to tell me if you believe there's something wrong with this theory. Entry Point is such a masterpiece and a great game. You really need a high understanding in order to truly figure out and piece together the story, which hopefully someday I will achieve that. It's a shame that it'll most likely get put down by simpletons just because it's a Roblox game. It's actually really compelling. I may create an entire video just talking about all the things Sish did right, because there's a lot. Well, see y'all.